The biggest revolution AI is bringing to education is that it's highlighting the system's failed incentives. Education is not learning. Education is a construct, something we as a society put our kids through. It's a system. But learning is a skill. And when we do it correctly, magical things can happen. My business is like TurboTax. I help accountants calculate people's taxes. Tell me what number I should put there. And of course, nobody's reading the, ChatGPT might make mistakes, subtitles, right? Everyone clicks on the terms of service before you agree, yeah? So then ChatGPT is gonna spit out an essay personalized to the language of the person. It's extremely compelling. And despite all the information on there, people are only going to look at that centerpiece, which if I zoom in, is the actual random answer of how much this person should charge for their business. The prompt, and this is a real prompt, had nothing but what I had on the screen. A small description of what the business does. No context for who the users is, nothing. And so the student is participating in what's called cognitive offloading. Now, when you combine that with something that we see in technology, so I'm a UX designer in addition to being a university professor, and our job as user experience designers is to simplify the way people use technology. But there's a byproduct from that arises, which is called a dark pattern. And what that means is we can simplify a UX to the point that we might manipulate what the user's intention is. And I'll show you an example. Take this zoo. As you're buying the tickets and checking out, they want a donation. We all love a zoo. It's a charitable organization. Now, the arrow pointing to the right, and because we're English speakers or French speakers, we write right, from left to right. The arrow pointing to the right is most likely what people are going to click on. It's dark green, it's rich. But if you don't want to donate, you have to click on the one that looks like it's going to the back with the teeny tiny no donation over there. That is a user experience dark pattern. And when a ChatGPT or large language model like it speaks to you in a perfect tone suited just to keep you on the tool, that is something very similar. According to this author, when a large language model constantly validates you and praises you, causing you to spend more time on it, that's the same kind of thing as a dark pattern. A researcher ran a study on over 300 professionals working in a large corporation, a tech company like Google, Microsoft, and found that when they were tested on a variety of things, the results were quite stunning. Before I show you the chart, let's look at the key here. The two shades of blue are for much less effort and less effort respectively, from dark blue to light blue. Now, when tested, the 319 workers responded to a survey that when they used ChatGPT on knowledge, they felt up to 70%, like 70% of them responded that they feel they use less effort in their cognition. When it comes to comprehension of what they're reading, same thing. Assessment of the knowledge, synthesis, we have analysis and evaluation. All of these, at least 60% of people said that they felt that they were putting in less effort. And that's extremely potent because these AIs are only going to get better. The same author of this study wrote a beautiful paper called When Copilot Becomes Autopilot. And he says the risk of moving to autopilot is an even greater challenge than the more commonly discussed issue of AI hallucinations or factual errors. Because the more pernicious outcome is that generative AI becomes complicit in intellectual deskilling and the atrophy of human critical thinking faculties. There are different levels of resistance that the AI is offering. But what the same author of When Copilot Becomes Autopilot advocates for is something called productive resistance. And we haven't yet found what that is. It's essentially the amount of resistance an AI should give you before you either leave it or go to a simpler AI so that you can do that cognitive offloading that is so tempting. But how can we figure out the right amount of productive resistance when OpenAI and all these companies won't reveal their data sets? We literally do not know how they train their AIs to this day. When companies themselves don't know how these AIs work. Anthropic, in this example, is building an MRI to analyze how the machine they themselves built worked. This is unprecedented in the history of human technology. We cannot reverse engineer these things. The solution is likely going to lie between both individuals and the system. Maybe we should understand what the LLMs are good for and what they're not good for. We should practice using LLMs to assist our thinking rather than replace our thinking. Or maybe you want to make a habit out of verifying that the information that LLMs get gives us, just like we look at the back of a food product when we pick it up, the nutrition label.